told you this was gonna be tough, but hey guys, so you see the title of this video, you know what this is about. First off, I do want to begin by saying that I did notice though that last weekend there was a bit of an uptick in my subscribers, and each day since then there has been an uptick, including today. So I'm super stoked. That's fantastic. And hello to all of my new subscribers. Welcome. A few of y'all have reached out to me. One in particular, crazy, was a gentleman that I had an entanglement with. Entanglement. Years and years ago. And so we've kind of just been going back and forth in my DMs, just catching up. So Eddie, hello. This video is for you. I promised you that I would make this video, and so let's see how this goes. All right, so now we begin in Nolans. I'm there on vacation and I'm in full party mode. So I'm going out to the clubs, I'm drinking, dancing, making friends, hooking up, doing all the stuff that a normal guy does, a normal young guy does. And so this one night though, for some reason, I was just kind of like, didn't want that whole stuff, you know, like I just wanted a nice quiet setting with my gaze, right? So I walked past the clubs and I end up finding this little gay bar like on a side street. So I go in the bar, and I want to say at this point it was just me and the bartender. Like I was there pretty early. So I'm chatting with the bartender, you're having a couple of drinks, and for the most part, just kind of in my own little zone. As the night continues, it starts to pick up a little bit, and at one point, I kind of look over, and there are two guys standing next to me. One guy, you know, he kind of has his back to me, but I remember just looking at his shoulders and thinking, wow, he had these like super broad, big shoulders, and some of y'all know, like I will pick out the most random kind of thing on someone first. So to me, it was his shoulders. And so like one point he looks back, I look at him and he smiles, and he had like, oh my gosh, what a beautiful smile. He had like that crest ding at the end. And, yeah, I was, let's just say I was interested. And he says, hello, how are you doing? Okay, we have to stop right here for a second, and for me to tell this story the way that I need to, I have to provide some context. So let's go back in time a little bit, okay? So growing up, I have a cousin named Jessica, and she is deaf, hearing impaired. I met her for the first time, I must have been like maybe 7 or 8, and she was about the same age as well. But my first thought was, when I found out that she was deaf, I was obsessed with her. Like I remember thinking, man, she's so strong, because she had a dysfunctional childhood just like I did, if not worse. But for some reason, there was this happiness that she exuded that I had none of that. And again, I admired that so much. And honestly, I was a bit of envy. Like I was a little bit jealous. Like, how are you this freaking happy and you don't have all of your 5 senses? Like to me, it was like, oh my gosh, like I want to be her. You know, that's kind of like where it got to. And I'm like, can you teach me sign language? And she's like, yeah, sure. So, you know, with sign, there are certain things that most folks will learn using your dominant hand, the alphabet being one of those. So that's the first thing that she taught me, was her alphabet. She was right-handed, just like I am. So because I wanted to be just like my cousin Jessica, I had to be hand to hand with hers. And so I actually learned on my left. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, like I learned it on my left. But anything that she could teach me, like I learned, you know, blue and yellow and white, you know, like all these different colors, like anything that she was willing to show me, I was willing to learn. I wanted to learn. And again, it was coming from a place of like, I want to be as strong as you are. Honestly, I'm not, no cap. It wasn't just her, because quick sidebar, I remember like seeing this gentleman on the subway platform, you know, taking the train, and he was blind and he's got his white cane. And again, I'm thinking, what a strong individual. Like thinking, would I be able to rise to the occasion if any of that were to happen to me? And not knowing for certain, I don't think I was that strong of an individual. Who knows, right? But that consumed me to where in the apartment I would close my eyes or just take something and wrap it around my eyes and walk around the apartment, preparing just in case if I were ever to be blind, that I wanted to be comfortable with that. And so I would memorize where the furniture was at and learn the path of how to get to the living room, the kitchen, the bathroom, bedroom. Like I learned all of that. So yeah, that's kind of like, I have to mention this because, okay, let's go back to Nolan's. So when he says, hello, how are you doing? There are a lot of folks who have hearing impairments. There's a certain tone when they're speaking, and I picked up on the tone, and so I knew that he was deaf. So when he says hello, I just say, hello. I let him know that I could speak it as well, and so, or I couldn't speak it, but I knew some. And so that was the whole thing. Oh, no, I know a little bit. So we are having this conversation where we're, whatever sign I could remember I'm using, or just using any hand gestures I could think of, or just reading lips, of course. And so he was there with his boyfriend, right? So I'm thinking, okay, cool. That's cool. I would just make friends with these two. And we are, just having a great conversation. And I don't remember, Eddie, you might have to remind me, but for some reason, he asked me to go back to the hotel room with him. I don't know if it was to pick something up, or I don't remember. But I was like, okay, cool. But his boyfriend, who wasn't hearing impaired, by the way, I remember him saying something to me, like, he goes, okay, well, just in case something ends up happening, I'm probably gonna head back to the hotel in a couple of hours. So just giving y'all a heads up. And I just kind of like, okay, just smile. We're walking back, and we just had like what I would say, like, we had a fantastic conversation. Like, for us being drunk and it being the middle of the night, we got in deep. We were talking about some deep stuff. Kind of like he was saying with that he's really super aware about not wanting to be someone's fetish. That's a concern that he has for being deaf. And I kind of like, I have this kind of same thing with being like this Latino lover thing. So we're talking about that. We're talking about like the open relationship. I don't think at that point I had ever really, like, I might have heard of it before, but didn't really think of it and didn't know how I felt about it. One thing that I will say though is that my opinion, I might have been formed that night, because I'm not really into open relationships. I'm not into open relationships. And I think it was because of that night, because as we're walking, I'm thinking, this dude is freaking perfect. Like, he is checking off all the boxes for me. And the fact that it was like, okay, I'm meeting someone where I know, even if what the chances that it wasn't going to be a one-night stand, or there would be more than that, was probably slim, but still the thought that it would not be more than that because he was already in a relationship, I just thought, I don't ever want to, call me selfish, but I was thinking, man, I want this dude for me. So yeah, that I was thinking that. I'll admit that here. At one point I said, well, just to let you know, I am attracted to you. There is no fetish involved with me. So when we sleep together, you don't need to think of something like that. When we sleep together, you don't have to think about me being a fetish. And he's like, who says we're going to sleep together? Because now he was joking, but for me, I was still taking it like, oh, damn, did I really think, am I on a totally different plane than he's on? But still thinking, I need to get this dude. So like, I'm trying to pull out all the stops and putting my best game forward. We get to the hotel room, and I was like, I have to impress him. I'm totally doing this whole Tiffany Haddish entrance into the hotel room.
Ooh, this is nice.
And yeah, anything that I could think of to kind of come off as being super cool, I was doing it and thinking what's going to get him to that point where I'm at. But I really didn't have to think about that much longer because he did a Simba pounce on me. Yeah, just like that. We're like on the bed, we're going at it, and this is the part of the story where I kind of, do I really say this? Like, I don't want to be offensive. I don't want it to come off wrong, but at the same time, I have to be real. I gotta keep it real. So here goes. So you know, again, with the people who are hearing impaired, there's a certain tone to their voice, and I find it sexy. I do find it sexy. But also, there was something when I started doing what I was doing, and he was moaning. There was like the way that he moaned, like there was without abandon, just uninhibited, free, and not really concerned with the volume like that. Like, you know, to just I don't know. It really got me going, and any fears that I might have had of that 2-hour limit that we had was, yeah, I didn't have to worry about that. I was a 1 minute man. I'm just not 1 minute, but yeah, it was super fast. I couldn't stop. I couldn't control it. There was nothing I could do. Yeah, it took over me, and before I knew it, I was done. Way too fast. But yeah, so we walked back to the bar, and again, still having this great conversation, and me thinking, I wish that something more would have happened or could happen in this situation. Obviously, this is not like we have both moved on. We are both in situations, so that's not what this is about. It was a great night. Like, I learned about myself as far as open relationships. I got to experience this great couple, because both of them were actually great individuals. I had a great night. You know what I mean by that. Yeah, so that's my story. I hope you all liked it. Eddie, I especially hope that you liked it. I hope you remember it the same way that I did. So please, like would be great, subscribe would be even better, but most importantly, comment and let me know if you've had a similar situation. And I would love to know about this, whether you were impaired or not. If you were in a situation like that, I'd love to hear your story. I think it'd be great.